We greet you from Miller Park on an overcast and warm Milwaukee afternoon for Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. The Cubs trying to avoid the sweep today as they take on the first place Brewers. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. The Cubs have scored just 2 runs, losing the first 2 games of this 3-game series. A very newsy morning here in Milwaukee. The Cubs stuff first. They have traded right fielder Kosuke Fukudome to the Cleveland Indians in exchange for a couple of minor league prospects and Tyler Colvin back in the big leagues.
Yeah, Tony Campana getting the start in right field today, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of Tyler Colvin down the stretch. As far as the 2 youngsters, Abner Abreu, a guy with great power potential in the minor leagues. Don't know a lot about Carlton Smith at this point.
Tony Campana, by the way, will get his first major league action in right in the leadoff spot this afternoon. The news for Milwaukee, not terrible for Ricky Weeks. They're saying 2 to 6 weeks with a very severely sprained left ankle.
Yeah, it was an ugly looking play, a routine ground ball to Starlin Castro at shortstop. He had some issues getting the ball across the diamond, and as Weeks lunged for the base, he hit the inside corner, rolled horribly on that left ankle. And Doug Melvin and the Brewers looking for some potential infield help at the trade deadline. This may add a sense of urgency to that pursuit.
So he'll be out at least 15 days. He's on the DL. This guy will be in the lineup as always, and Prince Fielder's done a lot of damage against the Cubs.
Well, he's in a contract year, a potential free agent at season's end, and he's having some kind of a salary rush against the Cubs this year.
So the Brewers have jumped past St. Louis and Pittsburgh. They're a half game up in the division at the moment. We'll talk about today's starting pitchers when we come back. Randy Wells will get the ball, looking for his 2nd consecutive win. Baseball brought to you by Bud Light Lime. The just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Ford, the newest vehicles on the road are now at your local Ford store, like the all-new Ford Explorer, SUV, 100% reinvented. Visit localfordstores.com. Ford, drive one. And by the Illinois Lottery. Play the Wheel of Fortune instant game from the Illinois Lottery for a chance of $250,000. Cubs trying to reverse a couple of trends. Milwaukee with the best home record in all of baseball, 35-14, and the Cubs just 15-26 within their division. Let's talk starting pitching tonight. We saw a lot of changeups from Chris Narveson the other day. We actually saw some from Zach Greinke last night. We're going to see more today. Randy Wells and Sean Markham. Let's first talk about the Cubs starter. Bob, he's coming off his first win in 3.5 months.
Well, and hopefully it'll be another step forward for Randy Wells today. It seems like this season has been one step forward, 2 steps back, but he was really good against Houston last time out, and he's been really good in this ballpark in his career.
Sean Markham has never faced the Cubs in his career. That will change today as a former Blue Jay looks for his 10th win.
Yeah, this guy is basically a 6th-inning pitcher. The numbers really skyrocket after that 6th inning of work. Hopefully the Cubs will be able to keep it close until then.
Well, we've talked about it. All these games are big for the opponent. After here in Milwaukee, we go to St. Louis and then Pittsburgh, the top 3 teams in this division. First things first as the Cubs try to contain Big Prince Fielder. And this high-powered Milwaukee offense will have the lineups and all the action coming up next. By Xfinity, only from Comcast. Props and the dogs are on the grill. Here's what's gone on the first 2 games of this series. The Cubs got a 2-run homer in the first inning on Tuesday night. They have not scored since. Brewers starting pitching, Bob, has been excellent lately.
And the bullpen hasn't been bad either. It's just been a very well-pitched series on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, the Cubs have pitched well in this series, but unfortunately 0-2. Milwaukee now half game up on the Cardinals, who lost last night to Houston. They will host the Astros again tonight. The Pirates are in Atlanta. They've dropped their last 2 in a row. Reds trailing. They're trying to avoid a 4-game sweep at home against the New York Mets. Now the Cubs Pepsi lineup brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Tony Campana gets the start. Kosuke was in the lineup before the trade became official. Castro hits second. Ramirez, Pena, Bird in the middle, with Giovanni Soto hitting 6th. Alfonso Soriano back in there and left. Barney 8th, and Wells the pitcher 9th.
Take a look at the Brewers defensively today. Braun, Morgan, and Hart once again across the outfield. McGee and Betancourt on the left side of the infield. With the injury to Ricky Weeks, veteran Craig Counsell takes over at second base. His bat has been invisible lately, but that glove is still there for him. Plays stellar defense. Prince Fielder over at first base. Jonathan Lucroy doing the catching today for right-hander Sean Markham. You know, a lot was made about the signing of Zach Greinke and bringing over an ace to head this pitching staff here in Milwaukee. You could argue that this guy has been the real sleeper of the offseason. He has done an outstanding job for the Brewers. As I mentioned earlier, he's a 6th-inning guy. The numbers really jump up from the 7th inning on.
Michigan native Bill Welke gets the plate. Nelson, the crew chief, Carpazza, and Foster on the bases. A speedy Tony Campana leads it off and takes ball 1. 85 degrees, overcast skies, roof partially closed, which they've started to do the last couple of years to try to hold off the shadows in the late afternoon. The roof closed last night, got a torrential downpour throughout the evening, but wasn't a problem inside.
I mentioned those numbers from Markham after the 6th inning. If you look at his splits, inning 1, 2, and 3, opponents hitting only 191 against him. Innings 4, 5, and 6, it jumps up to 216. But then in 7, 8, and 9, the batting average for opponents is 381.
Breaking ball pounded on the ground. Safe at first. Campana beat it out. Well, the key for him is to hit the ball slowly and then run fast.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Don't hit it directly at a defender. Make them move a couple of steps, because usually that's all he needs to leg out an infield hit. 3 hopper to the first baseman, the shovel on to Markham, and Tony Campana, in the estimation of first base umpire Jeff Nelson, able to leg it out for a leadoff infield single.
Campana getting his 17th major league start, but the first time in right. All the other starts coming in center. And here's Starlin Castro. Really, Markham's a 5-pitch guy with the fastball, slider, curve, change, and cutter. And you'll only see the fastball about 1 of every 3 pitches.
We'll see as many changeups as fastballs in this game. That was a cutter that time from Sean Markham. He will mix that pitch in, but you're going to see a bunch of straight changeups.
Throw gets by. Campana on his way to second. That's an error on Markham.
I talk about speed changing everything. With a lot of the Cubs runners, Markham wouldn't even risk a pickoff throw at first base, but with the speedy Campana over there, he's got to pay attention. And threw that one down the right field line to move Tony Campana into scoring position with nobody out.
It's the first error of the year charged to Markham. 29 years old, 6 feet 195 pounds. They got him from the Blue Jays in December for an infielder, Brett Lowry. Only 2 current Cubs have previously faced Markham without much success. Marlon Byrd 0 for 4. Carlos Pena 1 for 12.
Well, that trade to the Blue Jays, one of those that potentially could benefit both ball clubs. Obviously, Markham has been a huge addition to this Brewers pitching staff, and Lowry has a chance of getting called up by the Blue Jays before the end of the season this year. Good looking, offense oriented middle infielder.
Cubs haven't scored over their last 17 innings after getting 2 in the first inning Tuesday night. They were shut out 2-0 last night. Greinke, Saito, Rodriguez, and Axford combined on the 4 hitters. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
On Tuesday night against Chris Narveson, a first pitch fastball right down the middle of the plate, and we know what Rami does with first pitch fastballs in the strike zone. Deposited in the left field bleachers. Well, you mentioned the Cubs struggles to score runs in this series, and part of the problem is what we just saw from Starlin Castro. You got a runner at second base with nobody out. You'd love to see an RBI base hit, obviously, but at worst, some kind of a productive out to move Tony Campana up to third base. Unfortunately, the Cubs have not been able to do that with any regularity, not only in this series, but the entire season.
Looked like somebody lost his or her cell phone onto the warning track. Ryan Braun retrieving it. There goes Campana, and he's safe. A little double clutch by the catcher Lucroy, trying to throw around the right-handed batter. Campana leading the Cubs now with 12 steals on the year.
And not only that, but Lucroy dropped down to his knees as he received that pitch. By the time he's able to get back up to his feet and throw over Aramis Ramirez, Tony Campana is safely on the bag at third.
How about Campana with just 83 at bats this season, and he has sole possession of the team lead with 12 steals. Here comes a 1-0 pitch. It's outside.
It looked like it came down in pieces. That's not a good thing.
No. Like Ryan Braun put the battery back on and tossed it to that fan. The 2-0 is taken for a strike. 2-1. Well, Aramis, the best hitter on this team, and has been one of the best hitters in baseball over the last month or so. Fly ball out to Corey Hart as Campana ready to tag. And Campana scores. It's a sac fly for Aramis. He's knocked in all 3 runs in this series. Cub fans, make sure you check out our WGN Baseball blog. WGNTV.com. I have a post about the Cubs' inconsistent offense, particularly in this series. Game notes from Stats. We have a link to the JDRF Ron Santo Day coming up August 10th at Wrigley Field. And much more at WGNTV.com.
Well, that was a great RBI situation for Aramis Ramirez right there. You have the fastest player in the organization at third base with 1 out. Brewers were playing their infield back. He would have scored on any ground ball. As it is, he lofted that fly ball to deep right field. Corey Hart, even with a strong throw, no chance to get Campana at home plate.
Well, we wish Kosuke Fukudome the best as he now joins his second major league team, the Cleveland Indians. And it's really a package deal. It affects more than just Kosuke Fukudome. Interpreter Hiro Aoyama and trainer Yoshi Nakazawa also will head with Kosuke to Cleveland. And you see the Cubs getting 2 minor league prospects in return. Tyler Colvin is top step of the dugout and available off the bench as he replaces Kosuke on the active roster. 513 games for Fukudome as a Cub, 37 homers. He had 262 and was an all-star his first year. In fact, he started 2008. There's Tyler Colvin in between Darwin Barney and pitching coach Mark Riggins. Thanks, Carlos. We appreciate it. He was blocking our view.
Partial eclipse.
Bounced up the middle. Perfectly located there for Pena. against the shift.
Yeah, even with the shift, there are holes in that infield defense, and this time Pena is able to find one just past Betancourt into center field. That's Casey McGee on the left side of your picture. The shortstop Betancourt was playing on the second base side of the bag, and Pena able to bounce it through into center field for a base hit.
Now Marlon Byrd. Swing and a miss. Wanted that pitch, didn't get it from Bill Welke. The strike zone has been pretty large to this point in the series. It's probably a strike the last couple of days.
Oh yeah. We saw pitches a lot further than that out of the zone called strikes the last 2 days.
Golfed in the air out toward Hart. Routine play, and that's the inning. Cubs get a run, however, their first in 18 innings. Here come the Brewers against Randy Wells. Starting lineup, Corey Hart leads it off. Remember, just under 2 weeks ago made the switch from 5-1 with Ricky Weeks going down in the order. Morgan, Braun, fielder Casey McGee takes over that fifth spot with Weeks now on the shelf. Betancourt, the shortstop, Lucroy, the catcher, Craig Counsell really scuffling is at second, and Markham, the pitcher, hits ninth.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today. Behind Randy Wells, brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Soriano in left, Bird in center. Tony Campana with his first career start in right field may need a little help. Doesn't really have a right fielder's arm. Cutoff man may have to go out a little bit further today. Ramirez, Castro, Barney, Pena once again across the infield. Giovanni Soto doing the catching today for right-hander Randy Wells. His numbers on the season, we mentioned his last time out against Houston, went 6 strong innings, gave up only 5 hits and 1 run. He did get away with some mistakes in that ball game, but he was due for some breaks.
Hart has hit first, second, third, fifth, sixth in the Brewers lineup this year, and right now entrenched in that leadoff spot. And the 1-1 offering just missed the inside corner. Well, Ron Renicky As every big league manager has to do from time to time, you just adjust when you lose one of your top position players, a guy you just pencil in every day at second. As Campana will make the grab for the out. They have recalled infielder Eric Ferris from AAA Nashville. And he's on the bench today with the veteran Counsell getting the start at second. And if Ferris does get into the game, it'll be his big league debut.
Now Ferris, according to all reports, a glove first defender at second base. Anything you get offensively out of him will be a bonus.
Morgan 1 for 8 in the set with a double. Morgan's 4 for 7 against Wells. Fastball missed low and outside, 2-1. The season series has kind of played out like the Brewers season has. That's floated into shallow left, perfectly placed for Morgan, and a base hit. Cubs have gone 1-4 here at Miller Park, where the Brewers dominate, and they've gone 3-1 against Milwaukee at Wrigley Field. The Brewers have really struggled on the road.
Little jam shot floater just over the head of Starlin Castro into shallow left field. Nyjer Morgan has really had some rough at bats in this series already, but able to fight that one off for a base hit.
Now Ryan Braun 3 for 8. All the hits coming in game 1. Still not running at 100%, dealing with some left leg issues. And a base stealers lead for Morgan. He doesn't run as Braun swings and misses.
Morgan 6 out of 9 this season in stolen bases. I tell you, you hit that 2 spot in the Brewers lineup. Even if you've got base stealing speed, you're probably not going to get a lot of opportunities to run with Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder hitting behind you. No way Ron Renicky wants to run into outs with his 2 best hitters coming to the plate.
That's a strike. 0-2.
A 2-seamer down and in. Nice receiving job that time by Giovanni Soto to make it look better than it really was, and got the call from home plate umpire Bill Welke.
Love to hear from you via email. LennonBob@Tribune.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Morgan leaning just a little bit. Garth Orge is the Brewers' first base coach. Ed Cedar, Waukegan, Illinois native, is across the way at third.
And given the fact Randy Wells is ahead in the count 1-2, and Cubs at least thinking Nyjer Morgan may run, this would be a good opportunity to possibly pitch out if you think he's going. It would just run the count to even should Morgan drop anchor over there at first base. Still have a couple pitches to play with in the at bat.
Not running as Braun drills it into left. First and second for Fielder.
Well,
That man can hit, can he? Ryan Braun.
Well, that's all he's done since coming to the major leagues. Hit that one off the end of the bat a little bit, an elevated fastball, but able to muscle it out into left field.
The lowest average he's had in the big leagues is 285. Every other year he's hit over 300. And right now at 325. Changeups outside to Fielder, who's gone deep 3 times against the Cubs this season after not homering against them last year. And the home run last night off Carlos Zambrano was his first since July 5th. Although, of course, we're not counting the game-winning home run in the All-Star game. We have mentioned this before, and I have a pretty good idea his agent Scott Boras would mention this as well to any prospective destinations in the offseason. Durability is a pretty important factor in this game, and Prince Fielder has shown a lot of it in his career. 3-1. He's played in at least 157 games every year since 2006 and has started every single game this year. That's how you pile up the big home run and RBI totals. And he couldn't hold up. 3-2.
That's because nobody wants to tell him he's not playing today. I wouldn't want to be the manager or coach to have to tell Prince, yeah, we're going to sit you down for a day or two. This guy just loves to play the game, expects to be in that lineup every day, expects to produce every day.
I think, Bob, this is an important inning for Randy Wells to get out of unscathed. Remember, Tuesday night, the Cubs got 2 in the first, but then quickly gave it back with 3 in the bottom of the first, and that was it. Final was 3-2. The Cubs have scored a lot and given up a lot in the opening inning. Ball 4. Bases loaded. Wish there was some sort of explanation for the Cubs' struggles in the first inning. No team has allowed more runs in the first than the Cubs. 83 already this season.
You know, in the past, it's maybe been 1 or 2 pitchers who have historically struggled in that first inning, and the rest of the guys seem to do okay. But this year, it's affected the entire pitching staff. Everybody has struggled in that first inning at some point.
Casey McGee, the former Cubs, had a good series. 3 hits, played good defense. Morgan ready to tag. Bird getting behind the ball. He's going to throw to third. Braun's not going to test him, and Milwaukee answers with a sac fly of their own. Casey McGee knocking in Morgan. 1-1.
Middle of the plate slider. McGee gets under it and lofts it high in the air to right center field. And Marlon Byrd unleashes that throw to third. That's absolutely the right play to make right there. You try to throw Nyjer Morgan out at home plate, and suddenly you find Ryan Braun on third, Prince Fielder on second. Yeah, you just concede that run from deep right center field and make sure those other 2 guys stay right where they're at.
I like your line that you often use and quote. A man's got to know his limitations.
Absolutely.
That can get you in trouble if an outfielder thinks he can throw everybody out at the plate.
Well, what it does is pave the way for a big inning. You know, you allow guys to move up 90 feet. In this case, 2 guys to move up 90 feet. If you overthrow the cutoff man to home plate.
Deep in the gap in left center and all kinds of trouble. Braun will trot home. Fielder's going to be sent by Ed Cedar. Going to have a play on him. Here's the throw. He is out at the plate. They do get the lead. Well, we've talked about the Brewers are very aggressive on the base paths. Looked like Fielder got tagged right in the face. It's 2-1 after 1.
By Yuniesky Betancourt, looked like he was going to score 2 teammates that time. Good relay by Starlin Castro. His throw all the way to Giovanni Soto in the air, who has the plate blocked. Puts a high tag on Prince Fielder for the 3rd out of the inning at the plate. As it is, however, the Brewers take a 2-1 lead. And Marlon Byrd got rid of it quickly to Starlin Castro. His throw right on the money. Gunning down Big Prince at home plate.
An RBI single, or did they give him a double? They did. 2-base hit for Betancourt, plating Braun, and it went 8-6-2 to get Fielder. That's dunked out into right for Soto. Leadoff man on for the 2nd consecutive inning.
Nice quick swing that time by Gio. Very little lower body used at all. Just kind of threw his hands at the ball, drove it down into that right field corner. Here we go again.
Got to get this guy going, Alfonso Soriano. 10 homers in April, just 5 since. And a really tough month of July. $12 hits and 70 at bats. That's a 171 average. And he looks at a strike.
And a lot of his 12 hits haven't exactly been line drives. He's had his share of broken bat floaters that have dropped in, ground balls that have found their way through the infield.
Slow curve in for a strike. Saw a few of those from Zach Greinke last night. Markham was born in Kansas City. He is a Chiefs season ticket holder. Pitched at Missouri as a freshman, then transferred to Southwest Missouri State as Soriano chased a bad one for strike 3.
It's getting tough to watch on a daily basis. Soriano just continues to be mired in a horrible slump, and once again very predictable. Chases high fastballs, chases breaking balls in the dirt as he did right there.
When we talked to Mike Quade this morning, it was before the Kosuke Fukudome trade was official, so we didn't get into the question of what he does at the top of the lineup now against righties. We'll have some options here. We assume Tyler Colvin's going to get a lot of the playing time now in right. Darwin Barney recently moved down to the 8th spot. Does this mean he goes up into the top 2 spots? Would you consider leading off with Starlin Castro, who's been in the 2 spot? You move him down to 3. Lots of questions that he'll have to sort out over the next few days.
And no easy answers at this point, but certainly what we saw in that first inning from Tony Campana makes you think that a struggling offense could use that injection of speed at the top. We saw what speed can do here today. The errant pickoff throw moved him into scoring position. He stole third, scored on a sac fly. Cubs haven't manufactured runs like that very often this year, and usually when they do, it's when Tony Campana is in the lineup.
Well, then the other question is, if you need to get Tyler Colvin into the lineup, does Alfonso Soriano start to lose some playing time, considering how much he's struggled? We will see.
Yep. I mean, it's not out of the question to sit Fonzie for a little while and get some extra work in the cage with Rudy Jaramillo, try to straighten out some issues that he's had pretty much all season long after that first month. But we'll see.
Fly ball to center. Morgan can't make the catch. It's off his glove. And Barney will pull in at second base. Morgan kind of froze. He didn't think that ball was going to carry as well as it did.
And Barney fooled Nyjer Morgan with how hard he hit that ball. As it is, he got a glove on it, just wasn't able to close that big outfielder's glove around that drive. Looked like it hit off the thumb, rattled around, and then dropped to the grass out there in deep center field.
It's a double for Barney. By the way, we should add, if you put Campana and Colvin in the same lineup, you probably put Tyler in right and Campana in left.
Yeah.
Colvin with a stronger arm. Again, without chatting with the manager, I think Colvin's going to get most of the time, and then the other issue is, can Soriano get it going? And the biggest issue is for Campana, not once he gets on base, it's getting there in the first place. One and one.
And as if we need more issues, you wonder how many starts Tyler Colvin will get against left-handed pitching. Reed Johnson has been bothered by nagging injuries, hasn't been available as often as Mike Quade would like to use him. Same thing for Jeff Baker, some nagging injuries that just seem to keep him from being at a full 100%. And when your bench players aren't available, your platoon guys aren't available, it makes it much tougher to play matchups against opposing teams.
Wells able to hold up. It's a big swing pitch. Looked like Randy got a break. Brewers have their infielders in, not all the way to the grass, but they will try to cut down Soto if they can. Three and one.
Hard sinker inside off the plate. Good take that time by Randy Wells to run it to 3-1.
Markham will talk it over with Lucroy. A lot of guys who come out of the American League East as starting pitchers tend to work slowly because they're forced to.
Yeah.
So often. Matt Garza never in a hurry, and Markham really taking his time here. Big 3-1 pitch fouled off by Wells. 3-2. Nice grab by the Cub fan. Bounced foul. The other part of it too, Bob, is we said he has 5 pitches, so sometimes takes him and his catcher a little while to get on the same page.
Especially with a runner at second base where the catcher's going to go through a series of signs. If Markham happens to shake off that series of signs, most teams go back to the first sign. After you give a series and the pitcher shakes his head no, it's the first sign you see after that. But Markham and Lucroy just couldn't decide on which pitch to throw.
Infield pop up. Betancourt will take it away from Markham.
Tony Campana
getting on.
Yep, got it started with a little infield grounder to Prince Fielder. He beat the pitcher over to the bag, and then the errant pickoff throw moves him to second base, where he got himself a nice walking lead and was able to steal third and ultimately score on that pop-up.
Safe at home, safe and secure, New York Life. Cornermen still in against Campana. They're back up the middle. Small sample size, but he started the day with a .299 on base percentage, which certainly has to improve from that leadoff spot. He's been on once out of 2 tries today. And Markham gets out of it. Still 2-1 Milwaukee.
at Wrigley? Well, Cubs Destination has spots available for this highly anticipated matchup. All standard packages include great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a special Cubs gift bag, a tour of the ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cubs player. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
2-1 Milwaukee. As a catcher, Lucroy takes a strike. 2 for 6 in the series. Batting 7th with Craig Counsell in the 8th spot. It's hit foul out of play. Well, it's done. The Giants get Carlos Beltran, who had to approve of the deal from the Mets. Pitching prospect Zach Wheeler goes the other way in that deal. He's currently at High A San Jose. Golfed out into left center. Marlon Byrd tracking and catching. Beltran is expected to hit third and play right tonight for the Giants, who are at Philadelphia. I believe Tim Lincecum's also scheduled to pitch. He was scratched a couple of days ago with the flu. Been a rough go here for Craig Counsell. He's 0 for his last 38. That has tied a Brewers record for most consecutive at-bats by a position player without a hit. Greg Vaughn went 0 for 38 in 1990. And this is for a guy who doesn't play every day. Up the middle, surrounded by Barney. 2 down. When you play the Wheel of Fortune instant game from the Illinois Lottery, you could win one of 5 top prizes of $250,000 or one of over 52,000 additional prizes ranging from $50 to $1,000 instantly. Either a ZZ Top or Brewer fan or both, or a member of that band. Here's a pitcher, Markham. He has 1 career home run. It was a grand slam earlier this month. Daniel Hudson. How about that? Sean Markham has as many career grand slams as Derek Jeter. 1. And he has a base hit.
He's about 2,999 hits behind Derek Jeter, even though he does have a grand slam.
Only other grand slam by Brewer pitcher actually was by a Pilot pitcher. First year of the franchise was in Seattle, 1969. Fred Talbot had a grand slam against the California Angels. Inside to Corey Hart. Well, the Pilots were only around for 1 year, so a pretty tiny footnote in the history of baseball, but made famous or infamous by Jim Bouton. The book Ball 4. book today might seem a little tame by current standards, but it was groundbreaking at the time, and Jim Bouton was not a very popular big leaguer among his peers. High and deep. Bird at the barrier makes the catch. He in deep left center. 2 out hit by Markham, no runs. 2-1 Milwaukee at the end of 2.
The 2011 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. Oh, man.
That's after you eat all that stuff.
Yeah. Getting heartburn just watching him make that.
Castro, Ramirez, and Pena against Markham. Great to see Haley and Jack Bauman rooting on the Cubs here at the ballpark today. Making the trip up from Chicago. Actually at the Apache Day Camp in Lake Zurich. Little road trip. Castro struck out his first time. Now she is a Cub fan.
How'd you know? Very subtle.
Markham last year came off Tommy John surgery and would go on to win a career best 13 games and make a career high 31 starts. That was with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Len, one thing I've watched throughout this series, the Brewers catcher Jonathan Lucroy having himself a nice offensive year, has some issues throwing out runners on the bases. Some of that blame has to go to his pitching staff, however, but watch how small his target is behind home plate. Very little wasted movement after he gives his sign. Sets up, he's very still, he gets very small back there. Gives that pitcher a good stationary target.
McGee charges, backhands, and a bad throw, and Castro's aboard. That's an error on McGee. That's 2 errors on the Brewers, and really it should be 3. The ball that was dropped by Morgan in center was called a double.
Number 14 on the season for Casey McGee. Very routine play. Backhands it about belt high. Starlin Castro ends up moonwalking across the bag at first. Prince Fielder trying to sell first base umpire Jeff Nelson that he applied a tag, which he did not. He wasn't close.
He missed him by about 4 feet. Not even sure Castro touched first on the first pass.
Yeah, Starlin with a little move to the inside to avoid the tag, and boy, unless he drug that left foot across the top of the bag ever so slightly, it looked like he missed the base.
Kick in a 1-0. A cue shot to Counsell. 1 and 2. Betancourt got rid of it quickly. Bails out McGee.
Easy double play for the Brewers that time. Starlin Castro, being a shortstop himself, should understand where Betancourt was going to be after he made contact with the bag at second. Coming from that shortstop position, you're always going to end up on the second base side of the bag to try to complete that pivot to first base. You saw Starlin slide straight into the base. That gave Betancourt a clear throwing lane to first base to complete the double play. Slide to where the player is going to be, not where he is right now.
I've never seen a major league batter check his swing early in the count as often as Carlos Pena does.
Well, I always felt Miller Park, even with the roof open, was one of the darker stadiums in baseball, especially the night games with the lid closed. It seems to me really dark in this facility, but Carlos Pena and many other players choosing to wear the shades here today, even though there is no sunshine at this point.
Missed again. 3-0 with Bird on deck. That's a strike. It just made it look like Sean Markham's pants are about 6 inches too long.
Yeah, going with that boot cut.
One of these days they might just come out with a onesie. Cover your whole foot. Just have little holes at the bottom for the spikes. And then you have the opposite effect for a guy like Nigel Morgan or Hunter Pence. They wear their pants short. Ball 4. Hey, Cub fans, if you want to manage a game along with Mike Quaddy, log on to WGNTV.com right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more. Shallow center, and it drops in front of Morgan. third base runner, but the first hit of the inning for the Cubs.
Right off the end of the bat, sound like he may have broken his bat, which is a good thing. That ball died in front of Nyjer Morgan. Had he squared it up a little bit more, it probably carries a lot further and would have been the third out of the inning.
Bird chatting with Cubs first base coach Bob Dernier. Ivan DeJesus over at third. Cubs out hitting Milwaukee 5-4. As Soto takes ball one. One and two.
This is a situation where Giovanni Soto recently has taken a lot of fastballs for called strike three. I think he trying to guess along with the opposing pitchers and catchers, thinking they're going to throw him some kind of a breaking pitch like that out of the strike zone, and he's taken some very hittable fastballs for called strike threes. Well, you can overthink an at bat. And it happens probably to catchers more often than anybody else, because your responsibility is to get your pitcher through these situations. And when you're the guy standing at the plate with the bat in your hands, it's hard not to think along with the other team's catcher and try to ask yourself, what would I call for against myself in this situation? And I think Gio, at least in a few instances, has been overthinking these at bats when he gets to two strikes.
So what you're saying is you really need to think as a hitter when you're batting and as a catcher when you're catching, and try not to mix the two.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is not easy. Hit hard, but right at Counsell to end the inning. Cubs have stranded 5 through 3 innings. They trailed 2-1. Cubs won. Final game of this series, and then it's off to St. Louis. We'll have game 1 tomorrow night at 7 right here on WGN. Have a brief leadoff man. First pitch at 7:15. Matt Garza for the Cubs. Edwin Jackson in his Cardinal debut for St. Louis. The 0-1 to Morgan is hit foul out of play. Fox's Ken Rosenthal reporting the Brewers are looking into Rafael Furcal. Jamie Carroll's name has been mentioned. He also adds that the Dodgers would rather trade one of those guys, not both. And originally they would have been considered in a left side infield deal, but now with Ricky Weeks out, you know, Jamie Carroll can play all over the diamond. That's high on a fastball, 2-2.
Well, the reality is you're probably not going to get anybody quite like Ricky Weeks in a trade at this point in time. You know, Weeks, a guy with great power, great speed. He's improved his defense considerably at second base.
Campana right at the edge of the warning track.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN TV is sponsored in part by Mega Millions and now Powerball from the Illinois Lottery. Friday's Mega Millions jackpot is $74 million, while Saturday's Powerball jackpot stands at $133 million.
And we should also add, you know, one of the big reasons the Indians wanted Kosuke is they've got two their outfielders on the disabled list, center fielder Grady Sizemore and Shin-Soo Choo, their right fielder. So Kosuke could get significant playing time with the Indians. I think the tricky part with Kosuke is that defensively right field's his best spot, but that is traditionally a power position offensively, and he's not a guy who's going to hit for a ton of power. He will get on base, takes a lot of walks. Change up in the dirt to make it 3-2. Here's a pitch. Hammered to deep right center. And it will go a home run. Ryan Braun smoked it out of here, and it's 3-1. .149th of his career.
And Braun with great carry to the opposite field here. Elevated fastball right in the middle of the plate. He's known more for his pull power, but really flexed his muscles on this one. Got it up into the bleachers out there in right center field. Now we know this guy's got some opposite field power. He showed that against Carlos Zambrano in the game last night. Took a shoulder high fastball off the outside corner and tomahawked it to left field.
Ground ball into shallow right. Barney has some time and he gets him. As we do get down the stretch here, the last couple of months of the season, and again looking at Tyler Colvin probably getting a lot of playing time, how important do you think it is for him and the organization that he shows a lot of improvement? Really scuffled to start the season. AAA he was okay, but the thing that does alarm you a little bit, he only walked 5 times. He struck out 55 times at Iowa and just over 200 plate appearances.
Well, that's going to be a big difference in the Cubs offense in general. With Fukudome leaving, you lose about 19% of your base on balls that your offense was able to draw this year. And if you just assume that Tyler Colvin is the replacement, as you mentioned, he's not a patient hitter. He's not a guy that's going to take a lot of base on balls. So consequently, he's got to hit a ton. He's got to hit his way on base. He's got to hit some home runs, drive the ball in the gap, pick up the RBIs that he should. And I think this is absolutely the time for him to show this organization what he can do.
Home run by Braun makes it 3-1 Milwaukee. Bud Light Bleacher Series provides fans with exciting new opportunities in the Bud Light bleachers this season, including free t-shirt Mondays, $3 12-ounce draft Bud and Bud Light Tuesday nights, and $1 Vienna beef hot dog Wednesdays. Tuesday night special is also available in select locations in the seating bowl. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Looks like we are going to start even with the roof moving. Pitch to Soriano, swing and a miss on a curve at 67.
I call this the Bugs Bunny curveball because you could swing at it 3 times before it gets into the hitting zone. From the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. I tell you, Len, the first time I was here at Miller Park in the stadium as they closed the roof, the ballpark was empty. It was very early in the afternoon. There was some rain predicted. So after taking some early BP, they started to close the roof, and you could hear metal grinding on metal. I think they've corrected that particular issue. Either that or we just can't hear it because of the crowd noise.
Yeah, if the hair on the back of your neck stands up when you hear fingernails on a chalkboard,
yeah,
you can imagine what that sounded like. Ooh, have you ever been in there?
It's a roof driver.
Ground ball to McGee. Looks it in. It's always a bit of an unsettling feeling in a big league clubhouse when anyone is traded, particularly a veteran who's been around for a while. And as we mentioned, in the case of Kosuke, it's not just the player, but a couple of staff members as well. And there's a decent chance we'll see Kosuke down the road, spring training or with another big league club. But once you walk out of that clubhouse, that's it. You're no longer a Cub. You've been wearing that uniform for almost 4 years. That'll be a strange feeling.
It's a busy day for others as well. Tom Otis Hellman, the fine equipment manager for the Chicago Cubs, will box up Kosuke's bats, ship them off to Cleveland, along with any other personal equipment that he may have here at the ballpark in Milwaukee. Not to mention the guys that are back at Wrigley Field that will pack up Kosuke's locker and get that on its way to Cleveland as well. Jimmy Bank, the traveling secretary, making the arrangements to get Kosuke and the rest of his party on to Cleveland and hook up with that team, take care of the appropriate hotel reservations.
Barney got jammed as Betancourt's got to hurry. The throw is in time. Barney just not at 100%. Remember, he was on the DL with the knee injury, so not running quite at top speed. That gave Betancourt just a little extra time. You might be able to see he's got a brace on his left knee. And without the knee issue, he might have beaten out that double play ball that was the key play on Monday. And as the Brewers got out of that bases loaded, nobody out jam, and won that game 3-2. One and two. You see a lot of slop here from Sean Markham, don't you? He throws everything. Constantly adjusting his grip as he gets ready to make his pitch.
Adding and subtracting on everything he throws.
Not quite Bronson Arroyo, who will change his arm angles, but he has a wide array of pitches.
Well, I hope you're not claustrophobic. We're about to be closed in here, hermetically sealed.
Fan-shaped retractable roof. How do you hit that pitch? 64 miles an hour. Got him that time. Cubs go down in order for the first time here today. They trail 3-1. Upcoming schedule brought to you by Lincoln. It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that. Feel smarter at Lincoln.com. A weekend in St. Louis. Game 1 here on WGN. Cubs and Pirates next week, Monday through Thursday, and then the Reds come to Wrigley Field. He wants that roof open.
Yeah. Came all the way from Lake Geneva to get some fresh air here at the ballpark. He's not happy.
Betancourt showing bunt and taking ball 1. It's been in a hot stretch. He did see an 8-game hitting streak go by the board yesterday, but did hit a sac fly, and he has an RBI double in this one. We got to check on a couple of long hitting streaks. As Emilio Bonifacio has a 25-gamer going into action, and he is 1 for 3 for the Marlins today in Washington. So Bonifacio has hit in 26 in a row.
Bonifacio, another guy whose name has come up in potential trades. I don't know if they'd be willing to part with him right now, the way he's swinging the bat.
Buy low, sell high, right?
Yeah.
As they say. Dustin Pedroia with a 24-gamer, and he's 0 for 2 with a walk as the Red Sox trail the Royals 4-2 in the 7th at Fenway. Florida, by the way, leading Washington 4-2 in the top of the 8th. Sinker is low. Mentioned it off the top. Randy Wells 2-0 lifetime here at Miller Park. Going into action today. How about that? Couldn't get the bunt down. He swings away, and it's basically like a bunt. Well, when a guy's hot, he gets hits like that.
Yeah, especially with 2 strikes. Aramis Ramirez was drawn in earlier in the at-bat protecting against the bunt, but once the count goes to 2 strikes, he backed up into a more normal defensive position, and then Betancourt with the swinging bunt.
And again, this infield grass is as thick as it's ever been since they opened this ballpark. Seems to deaden every ground ball. Now, we talked about this before, my theory that there's more dirt on this field than any playing surface in Major League Baseball. It might be partially due to the fact that it is a retractable roof and it's not easy to get sun covering the entire field. But look at how much dirt leads from the on-deck circle to the plate.
Yeah, the extra
pretty wide swath.
Extra wide walk-up path.
Diving stop by Ramirez from his knees. He gets one. Relay. Safe. Close. But Lucroy able to beat the relay throw. He did get the lead man, however.
I didn't think there was any chance for Darwin Barney to complete this double play, but he makes the throw anyway as he avoids the sliding Rafael Betancourt. Oh, man, very close. Lucroy was in the air coming down on top of the bag there at first, almost simultaneously with the ball entering Carlos Peña's glove.
Bounced pickoff attempt. Good play by Peña. It's weird for Craig Counsell. His last hit came on June 10th. That day he went 3 for 3 against the Cardinals. The day before he was 1 for 1. So after a 4 for 4 2-day performance, He has gone 0 for his last 39. Campana coming in. Make it 0 for 40. 2 down in the inning. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Len and Bob and our WGN Sports crew from Miller Park in Milwaukee. Brewers are back in first place after the Pirates have dropped 2 straight. The Cardinals lost last night. Castro will throw to first. Markham's out, and the Brewers done in the 4th. After 4, it's the Brewers 3 and the Cubs 1. Today we want to recognize Bill K. Chevrolet for its support of Indian Boundary YMCA. Bill K. Chevrolet and your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers are supporting leagues and young ball players in their communities through the Chevy Youth Baseball Program. From the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of baseball. Maybe a future Chicago Cub right there. Tony Campana will start the 5th. He just joined us before the game. Kosuke Fukudome was traded to the Cleveland Indians for a couple of minor league prospects. Tyler Colvin brought up from Iowa. Hit for power, didn't get on base a whole lot. And he gets another opportunity here with the Cubs.
Well, the reality reality for Tyler Colvin is you can't really do anything about the numbers that you've already put on the board this season, but it is a fresh start. You can't change those numbers, but certainly from this point forward you can do your best to improve those numbers, and hopefully Tyler will be able to do that.
Nice play by Markham as he snagged that hard hit ground ball. Well, Colvin has been asked about it, and I've talked to some people who've watched him play, just at least throwing the question out there. Did the late season incident, which he was hit by that broken bat that ended his season, I mean, that could have been a life-threatening situation, and a punctured lung, if that in any way has had an effect on his 2011 season. And the answer we keep getting is no. I'm not even saying a physical effect, maybe just the psychological effect of it, but he has said that's not the case.
And how are we doing on the study of the broken bats? You know, that was the big topic, a hot topic for a few days after that particular incident. But you know, much like the Buster Posey play earlier this season, I believe because it was Tyler Colvin and not Albert Pujols or Ryan Braun, it just kind of went away.
It's caught by Counsell. I tend to agree with you. I think there would have been a much bigger uproar if an all-star player had been involved. And it was a big story as it was, but Colvin able to dodge a bullet, and you hope it doesn't happen again. But if it does, the next player or fan is as fortunate.
Well, I'm always most concerned with the fans. The players on the field are aware of the hazards of playing the game. Just by using their ears, they can tell when a bat has been broken at home plate, and perhaps a piece of it is likely to come flying in your direction. But boy, for the fans sitting in the stands, especially those that are sitting so close to the action, they just really don't have any time whatsoever to react or any experience in dodging broken bats for that matter.
The Brewers just announced they have acquired infielder Felipe Lopez from Tampa Bay. He was playing at AAA. And it'll be his second stint in the Milwaukee chain as Betancourt throws out Ramirez, and the Cubs sent down an order for the second consecutive inning. 3-1 Milwaukee.
And five $5 footlongs from Subway. Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete information and rules.
Cub Hunter. Okay. One strike on the leadoff man. Corey Hardy is flat out twice. Roof and panels now both closed. Banged off, I think, Giovanni Soto. And Wells ready for an 0-2. Here it is, right down Main Street. Second strikeout. They've both been of the looking variety.
Some off-speed pitches to start the sequence. Gets Corey Hart in that slow motion mode and then just paints the outside corner with an 89-mile-an-hour heater for strike three.
One to Morgan. Fair ball rolled into right. Campana gets over there quickly, and Morgan has to settle for a single. The one and only Sir Paul McCartney is coming to Wrigley Field this Sunday, July 31st, and Monday, August 1st. Treat your best customers and guests to the ultimate VIP experience in a private suite at the friendly confines for these historic shows. Mezzanine suites are limited and available now. Call 773-404-4200 for more details and to book your suite today. Braun with a single in the first, a home run in the third. He has scored both times, and you usually do score when you hit a home run.
Kind of a rule.
Yeah. Would that be a rule or a benefit?
I think it's a rule.
Yeah. That's a benefit too. If you hit a home run, you get the score. Told you about all the dirt.
Yeah, dirt everywhere, including Nyjer Morgan's right eye. Oh. Good that a young man calling timeout in the background there. Good that Randy Wells paying some attention to Nyjer Morgan at first. Just don't forget the hitter at the plate. Make sure by the time you turn to deliver that ball to home plate, you're going to execute the pitch that you want to throw. Don't let your attention be distracted to the point where you make mistakes to Ryan Braun. That's when bad things start to happen.
Called strike. You mentioned Sean Markham being about a 6-inning guy. That's been the case for Randy Wells this season. Another ball thumped by Ryan Braun, this time to left center, off the wall. Morgan coming around third. Castro's relay late, 4-1. Braun just missed his second homer today. Does knock in Morgan with a double, and he's a triple away from the cycle.
Now, for the most part, Randy Wells done a good job of keeping the ball down, but that fastball straight up around the belt on the inside corner, and Braun hit a rocket to that gap in left center field. Morgan slowed down slightly around second base, but Ed Cedar never stopped waving that left arm, sends him on around. You mentioned it earlier, the Brewers have been extremely aggressive on the bases, not only in this series, but all season long.
They will walk Fielder with first base open and go after McGee. Boy, is Ryan Braun locked in. 6 hits in the series. Veteran Ramon Ortiz is up.
I got this day in baseball history for you, Len. During this intentional walk back in 1963, Cubs are going down to St. Louis after the ball game tonight to play the Cardinals. Well, back in 1963 on this date, Dick Ellsworth struck out Stan Musial 3 times in a 5-1 Cubs victory over the Cardinals. That's the only time in his 22-year career that Stan Musial struck out 3 times in a game. 3,026 major league ball games. Only 1 time did he strike out 3 times in a game.
McGee tied the game with a sac fly in the first. He struck out in the third. Wells would like to get a double play ball here and get out of this inning.
Now McGee has grounded into 11 twin killings this season. Perfect time for one right here.
Angels coming off the Irvin Santana no-hitter in Cleveland yesterday. They're now in Detroit and leading the Tigers 9-6 in the 7th. The Angels are just 2 games behind Texas in the AL West. Former Cub Rich Harden pitching for the A's today against Tampa Bay. And against Wade Davis of the Rays. Rays and A's are scoreless in the first. That's a strike, 2-2. And let's see, Bob, that would be the 706th consecutive game in which the Rays have used a starting pitcher younger than 30. That's a major league record. They set it last night. Ground ball to third. Ramirez, Barney, Pena digs out the relay throw, nicely done, and the inning comes to a close. They do get a tack on run though on the Braun RBI double. It's 4-1. shot of the game. The Harley-Davidson Museum. Those are the choppers from Easy Rider. Chicago Cubs baseball brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. That's a good time to listen to the Birds. That's a great soundtrack. But an easy ride for Ryan Braun today. He has 3 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs. As the Brewers lead 4-1. Slight delay. Jeff Nelson just coming out of the tunnel. First base umpire.
Whenever you're ready, Jeff. He stopped to have a conversation with Ron Renicky on the way past the manager's perch over there in that first base dugout, and just now getting to his position at first base.
Pena's been on both times. A single in the first, a walk in the third. Cubs have allowed Markham to settle in. He has retired 7 in a row. On the left center, and Braun will have to chase this one down. One hop the fence, and it's a leadoff double. So after snapping an 0 for 16 last night, Carlos Pena starting to heat up.
Good to see him driving a ball to the opposite field. A gapper pitch low on the outside corner, stays right on it, finds that gap in left center field. This is that 3rd time through the lineup for Sean Markham. Opponent's first plate appearance, they hit 199. Second plate appearance, 206. The third plate appearance, it jumps up to 273. Hopefully an omen of things to come here for the Cubs.
Four times they've had the leadoff man on base, and only one time did that guy score. It was Campana in the first. Well, the panels are now opening up. We've seen just about every configuration, haven't we?
We've had a half roof, a full roof, panels closed, now panels open. It does make it a little brighter in here. I was talking about it a couple of innings ago. This ballpark has some shady areas down on the field, and I don't mean the people that are down there, but just a lack of sunlight. And with the panels open now, a much brighter environment.
Well, the Brewers starters are in a really good stretch, and when you pitch, you usually win. That was going into today. 15 quality starts over their last 18. And including today, the Cubs have scored just 3 times in this series. This is the kind of stretch I think Ron Renicky and Doug Melvin hoped they would get at the beginning of the season from this starting staff. But remember, Greinke missed the first month with the fractured rib. They have 9 shutouts already this year. They had 7 all of last year. Bernie Brewer's always happy.
At least he's smiling on the outside. If you slid down a sliding board into a huge keg of beer every time the Brewers hit a home run, you'd have a smile on your face too. He's bombed. That's why he's smiling.
Used to live at the old chalet at County Stadium. Now he lives in Bernie's dugout out in deep left. I guess that's an upgrade. Don't touch the stash.
No, do not touch the stash.
Never touch the stash. He's got a lot of product in it. Pena will have to stay at second as Betancourt gets bird.
Follow the Chicago Cubs with the MLB.com at Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text it BAT to 31826 or visit Cubs.com for details.
A bit of a Raleigh fingers look. The Hall of Famer. Good knockdown by Lucroy. Keeps Pena right where he is.
It looks like Markham is struggling with his grip out there on the mound. We've seen him bend over and grab a handful of dirt on several occasions, especially after trying to throw that big curveball. Just can't seem to snap it off the way he was earlier in the ball game. He bounces that one about 5 feet out in front of home plate.
Markham has a sign from Lucroy, and the pitch. Another dirt ball. 3-1. The sausages are getting all stretched out. Got to stretch out those hammies, right? Hate to mix our breakfast meat, but we'll see which one takes home the bacon. Ow. Right off his foot. 3-2.
Well, we'll see which one's the worst. Oh, that left instep, Giovanni Soto. We are here into the top of the 6th inning with 1 out, a runner in scoring position, and the Brewers are now going to get their bullpen cranking a little bit. We've talked at length throughout the early part of this game that Markham usually runs into trouble after the 6th inning in his starts this year. Looks like former Cub LaTroy Hawkins beginning to throw out there in left center field.
Looks like Lucroy's going to have room. We're near the Brewers on deck circle. 2 outs. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Cubs now 0 for 6 with a runner in scoring position. As Soriano cranks that ball to deep left into the corner, off the wall. Pena's going to score easily. Soriano on his way to second. He'll stand with a double. It's 4-2. He missed a home run by a couple of feet.
It's been a while since we've been able to do this, but our BMW ultimate drive of the game off the bat of Alfonso Soriano. A ringing double down into that left field corner to drive home Carlos Pena. Brought to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana BMW dealers. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Two-out RBI by Soriano. Here's Barney. 1 for 2 with a double. Strike one. Oh, 2. Wells is on deck, but the Cubs have 2 guys up in their bullpen just in case. Ortiz still throwing along now with Jeff Samardzija. Pulled down the left field line for Barney. Foul. Just out in front too much.
It's 2 at bats in a row that Darwin Barney has narrowly missed down that left field line. Last time up, a line drive that barely landed foul. This time a potential home run just hooks into foul territory as it gets near that pole.
Another one pulled foul. We talked about Markham with some grip issues. All these big pitches coming up. He grabbing that rosin bag. Look at the right pant leg. Wearing it out. Got some other issues too.
Equipment malfunction.
Yeah, that's what we call it. Barney got a piece of it. Still 0-2. Zip it over there, okay?
Oh my.
Foul tip into the mitt. The final out of the inning. Ready for those sausage races. It is 4-2 Milwaukee in the 6th.
set, go. And they're up a little early. Jump start from Polish, number 2. He's fallen back into, well, no, it's neck and neck. And look at Hot Dog. Hot Dog is number 4. They're in the home stretch. I think he's going to take it. I don't know if Chorizo can catch him. It'll be a good one right to the tape. And it's Hot Dog.
A Hot Dog winning for, I believe, the 20th time already this season. Famous sausage race here in Milwaukee. Betancourt leading off. Cubs closing the gap to a 2-run deficit on an Alfonso Soriano RBI double. Betancourt 2 for 2 as Wells deals on a 1-1 inside on a sinker. Swing and a miss. 2-2. It's yanked foul. Talked about it the other day. The Cubs have always played well in this ballpark. 48-39 since 2001. Ramirez to Pena for the out.
The 27th annual Cubs convention will take place at the Hilton Chicago on January 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2012. Rooms are available now by calling the Hilton Chicago at 312-922-4400 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Weekend passes will go on sale in early November. For more information, as always, visit Cubs.com.
I'm not sure if that's Mickey Rourke or no, Michael Bolton.
I say Mickey Rourke wannabe.
Mickey Bolton. Called strike. 2-1. Be another non-quality start for Randy Wells. Only has 3 all year. This is his 12th outing of the season. Bird makes a grab. Lucroy gone. By and large, a Randy Wells outing this year has been about 6 innings and about 4 runs. It just hasn't been quite good enough. He has 2 wins, but he went 3.5 months and 8 weeks on the DL between victories. Two strikes on Craig Counsell, and when you're 0 for 40, seems like it's 0-2 every time you step in. Matt Garza. He'll face Edwin Jackson tomorrow night right here on WGN from steamy St. Louis. I don't have to look at the forecast. I know it's going to be hot. That's a fair ball, and Council's out. Pounded it right into the ground in front of home plate. Off to the 7th, 4-2 Milwaukee. Trio Cream Strange Brew. That's our Bud fan cam. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Let's see, Clapton, Bruce, and Baker, right? Speaking of Baker, not Ginger, but Jeff is going to lead off the 7th, batting for Randy Wells against former Cub LaTroy Hawkins. Your thoughts on Sean Markham, our first look at the veteran righty?
I've liked Sean Markham for a long time. He kind of invents stuff out there on the mound, throws a lot of off-speed pitches, keeps his fastball out of the middle of the plate, and he pretty much did what the rest of the Brewer staff has done in this series: keep his team in the ball game, give him a chance to win.
And Randy Wells, 6 innings. He allowed 4. So both teams now into the bullpen. Swinging bunt charged by McGee. Picks it up, throws to first, 1 away. Brewers were off Monday. I would imagine both Frankie Rodriguez and John Axford are available again. It'll be the 3rd straight day for both the 8th and 9th inning guys. scalded foul the other way. Well, when in doubt, you've discussed this many times before, LaTroy Hawkins, when he needs to make a pitch, he's going to go with his fastball.
He's always been a challenge pitcher, especially in those hitters counts when he falls behind 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. Pretty good chance you're going to see a heater.
Campana showing bunt, taking ball one.
Yeah, Hawkins has got his own version of a quick pitch out there. Of course, he works from the stretch position all the time, being a relief pitcher, but occasionally he won't even come to a set position. He just put his hand in the glove, lift that front leg, and fire it home.
Too high on the Heat. 2-2. Another huge crowd here today. Largest attendance of the weekend. Over 39,000 the first two nights. And over 40 today. 40,008 in fact. Be back here not too far down the road. A weekend in late August. Starting a trip here and finishing up in San Francisco. I mean, since we were in Wisconsin, might as well just head to San Francisco.
All right, next door. Get some cheese here in Wisconsin. Take it back to San Francisco. Shoot up to the Napa Valley. Get some wine. You're good to go.
Wisconsin cheese and California wine. You can't beat that. And with 2 outs, it'll be Starlin Castro. Cubs still have 2 more trips to the West Coast. The aforementioned San Francisco trek at the end of August, and then the final 3 games of the season will be in San Diego at the end of September. Bounding ball up the middle, cut off by Betancourt. High throw, and fielder can't handle it. And I believe it rolled out of play. Another error. It's 3 today on Milwaukee.
It's probably the one play where Prince Fielder's lack of height hurt him over there at first base. Had to keep his right foot on the bag as he tried to stretch as high as he could to get that errant throw. Ball ticks off the end of his glove and goes into the Brewers dugout. Castro will be awarded second base and is in scoring position for Aramis Ramirez with 2 outs.
Now this could be big. Aramis representing the tying run. McGee. And that's the inning. Stretch time in Milwaukee. It's 4-2 Brewers. Visit your local Honda dealer today to test drive the 2011 Honda Cross Tour, available with 4-wheel drive. Carlos Pena has been on base all 3 times today, has scored once. Ryan Braun with a big day, single homer, double, 2 RBIs, 2 runs. As Jeff Samardzija takes over, and a major league debut here for Eric Ferris as he bats for Hawkins. Brought up to replace Ricky Weeks on the active rosters. You check out the numbers for Samardzija. Ferris, a 4th-round pick back in 2007. And he rolls a ground ball to Darwin Barney.
Yeah, Ferris wasn't up there long enough to talk about him, but a couple of years ago in 09, playing in A-ball, he stole 70 bases, only caught 6 times.
Well, he's in the book.
He's in the book.
Eric Ferris, you are a major leaguer. Even though he grounded out, it's got to feel really good. What's that moment like?
Oh, it happened to me so long ago, I can't really remember. I just know I was monumentally nervous. I mean, I felt like I was physically shaking in the batter's box. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but I sure felt it.
We've seen this movie before. Rodriguez warming up for the 8th. Jeff Samardzija, by the way, struck out the side in the 7th inning Monday. Very dominating performance. A couple of groundouts here. This time Corey Hart. And it's Morgan who has singled twice and scored both times. It'll be a quick 1-2-3 for Samardzija. Should get us into the 8th. Gonna have to do it against their top relievers. 4-2. And margarita action.
Yeah, just in case suds aren't your cup of tea, have a margarita. That looks pretty good.
There's K-Rod trying to adjust to somewhat an unfamiliar role. Not closing, he's setting up. for John Axford. He's done a perfect job in this series in that regard. Cubs are only down 2, and anything is possible with 6 outs to go. But to borrow a line you've used in the past, it's not a great way to make a living to be facing these guys every day trailing. First pitch strike to Pena. Two innings in the series, 1 hit, no runs for Rodriguez. There's 3 strikeouts. Ground ball to fielder, a little bobble, but a lot of time to take it unassisted. First time Pena's been retired.
When you think about it, Atlanta, it seems like it's been a long time since the Cubs have been able to get into the opposition's middle relief. Yeah, part of that is due to really good starting pitching against the Cubs. Some of it is due to their overly aggressive at bats. But a way to win some more games is to knock that starter out early and get into the middle relief. When you go straight from a starter to your setup guys, it's going to be tough to come back in a ball game. Or straight from the starter to the closer, which we've seen a few times.
Only taken 1 walk today. That was Pena back in the 3rd inning against the starter Markham. Well, whatever momentum was gained from the first 3-game sweep of the year over Houston has been taken away here in this series. Ground ball to short. Well, the other issue too is Milwaukee's made 3, really 4 errors defensively, and the Cubs could only take advantage of it 1 time, and that was in the 1st inning on the errant pickoff throw by Markham. Well, you like to make teams pay for defensive miscues. Fastball, strike 1.
Well, and I come back to something I mentioned earlier in the ball game, the idea of productive outs. The Cubs have had runners at second base with nobody out repeatedly over the last couple of weeks, but it seems like on every instance that next batter hits a ground ball to the left side of the infield. The runner's forced to stay at second base. Next guy hits a shallow fly ball to the outfield that may have scored him had he been on third base, but you end up with 2 outs and a runner at second base, and now it takes some kind of a big 2-out base hit to score him, and we know we haven't come up with enough of those. Just a good out sometimes will set the table for the guys behind you in the batting order.
Rodriguez with 23 saves, all with the Mets. He's now run at full 3-2 after an 0-2 start. 7 consecutive 20 save seasons for Rodriguez. And going back to 2005, he Paces the majors with 277. Ball 4. An awkward landing there by Rodriguez, and Soriano will come up as a tying run. That could be a big walk here for the Cubs.
And really overthrew a curveball here on the 3-2 count to Giovanni Soto. Landed awkwardly, left the pitch way up out of the strike zone. The 2-run lead. Kind of surprised to see him throw a breaking ball on that full count pitch to Giovanni Soto. Even if he goes deep on a 3-2 fastball, you still have a 1-run lead in the game. And now you make a mistake, it's a tie ball game.
K-Rod really came out of nowhere in the 2002 playoffs with the Angels. Started that postseason 5-0 after making his debut in mid-September. Became the first pitcher ever to pick up the first 2 wins of his career in the playoffs. Youngest pitcher to win a World Series game when he got the 11-10 win in Game 2 over the Giants. 20 years, 286 days old. I don't have the hours and minutes, but
we get the point.
What Sean Marshall's up.
What a huge advantage going into the postseason to have a weapon available that the other team really knows very little about. I mean, you probably had to reach back to your minor league affiliates to see if anybody had seen Francisco Rodriguez.
Might be the best pitch Soriano sees in this at bat. Fastball to make it 2-2. Barney on deck.
And not only a fastball, but an elevated fastball, belt high right down the middle of the plate.
This will get back out of play behind the dugout. Getting kept alive by Giovanni Soto. Worked a full count after 0-2 and then walked. And now it's 2-2 on Soriano. Here it is. Another foul. Soriano with the most career plate appearances among the Cubs against Rodriguez. He's 1 for 11 with a walk, a homer, and 4 strikeouts. Only guy with more than 1 hit is now a former Cub, Kosuke, 2 for 3.
Well, compared to his first 2 outings of this series, Rodriguez laboring a little bit today. His command is not as good. Breaking ball not as sharp as we saw in the first 2 games.
it might not be a coincidence. It's the third consecutive day he's worked. So in that regard, this could be the Cubs' best chance against Rodriguez and Axford. Another 2-2 and a ground ball backhanded by Betancourt. The throw to second forces Soto, and the inning is over. Cubs strand one, bottom 8, 4-2 Milwaukee. Shoot for the 3-game sweep. Jeff Samardzija is still working. 3 straight groundouts in the 7th. And he'll get 3, 4, and 5. Braun, Fielder, and McGee. And in the top of the 9th, it'll be Barney, a pinch hitter, and Campana for the Cubs. Probably Blake DeWitt. Samardzija from the stretch, and he's able to knock it down. Braun bidding for his 4th hit today. He's been robbed twice by Cubs pitchers. Hit that rocket to Ryan Dempster in the opener. He's going to wave off Mark O'Neill, but Mark's going to come out anyway.
Yeah, Samardzija waved him off, but Giovanni Soto called the Cubs trainer out to the mound. Man. As you said, that's twice in this series. Ryan Braun has sent a rocket back up the middle of the field. Looked like it caught Samardzija on the inside of the left forearm, but able to knock it down, stay with it, and get the out. Yeah, Braun was just a triple short of the cycle going into that at bat, and with his recent history of leg problems, you have to probably assume a triple was out of the question.
We want to send out our best wishes to the Dillmans, Tim and Nicole, welcoming Samantha Marie into the world, their 2nd child. 7 pounds 2 ounces, bouncing baby girl. 1-0 on Fielder. Has grounded out and walked twice. As a Cubs closer, Carlos Marmol is trying to get some work in. Would be ready if needed in the 9th. Actually might be ready if needed here in the 8th. Samardzija struggles. There's a Brewer closer, John Axford, who will be seeking his 30th save of the year.
Brian Wilson of the Giants leading the way in saves in the National League and the major leagues for that matter, with 32 going into play today. Craig Kimbrell from the Atlanta Braves with 31, and as you mentioned, Axford looking for number 30 here today.
One got away from Samardzija, 3-2 with McGee on deck. Did you bring your earplugs today for when Axford comes in?
Oh, I should have. Now you mention it. I'm starting to kind of like that song. Yeah.
Ear splitting song when Axford is summoned. Sounds like somebody's taking an axe to your eardrums. Soriano makes the grab, 2 outs. He couldn't hold up. It's a strike on a slider. Kansas City beat Boston 4-3 today at Fenway. Luke Hochevar over Josh Beckett. Florida beat Washington 5-2. The Mets with a 4-game sweep at Cincinnati, 10-9 the final. Well, that is a devastating blow to the Reds. Getting swept at home in a 4-game set, 1-2. They're now 5 games under 500 right now, 6 games back of Milwaukee. It could be 6.5 by day's end. A little bit outside, 2-2. And the payoff delivery. Broken bat ground ball. Castro to Pena, and we'll go to the 9th as Samardzija was 6 up, 6 down relief work. Here comes Axford, 4-2. Chicago Cubs baseball, brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. And by the Illinois Lottery. Play the Wheel of Fortune instant game from the Illinois Lottery for a chance of $250,000. Last chance for the Cubs. They have scored just 4 times this entire series. Their pitching hasn't been bad. As Milwaukee winning 3-2, 2-0, and leading 4-2 today. Here's John Axford. Ball 1 to Darwin Barney. Another strike 1 to Darwin Barney. Blake DeWitt on deck as a pinch hitter, and then Campana. Oh, and 2. Tyler Colvin ready in case. Possibly could hit for Campana depending on the situation. Much more of a home run threat. Campana's not at all. Emergency swing, and he stays alive. John Brabo just in case. Axford last night with his 26th consecutive save opportunity. That's a new Brewers record. He broke Doug Jones' old mark of 25 in a row, set in 1997. Talk all the time about prospects. He wasn't a prospect. He was an undrafted free agent. Counsell for the first out. And before Axford signed with the Yankees, he pitched in the Western Baseball League, had a couple of incredible performances. 16 strikeouts and 7 innings, 1 timeout, and then in another game he fanned 19. It's like Colvin's going to bat for Campana. For Tyler, it'll be his first big league plate appearance in a month and a half, having spent the last 6 weeks at AAA Iowa. Two down. Now today's Budweiser play of the game. Big day for Ryan Braun. A home run to the opposite field in the 3rd inning made it 3-1. That could be the ultimate decisive run today. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
21 home runs, 71 runs driven in on the season for Ryan Braun after today's effort.
Well, as you said, Bob, a fresh start here for Tyler Colvin. Kind of forget about those early season numbers. But this is not a soft landing in terms of a return to the big leagues against John Axford.
Well, you got that right. Yeah, I think you gave his AAA numbers this season. He was hitting .256, had 52 base hits. 25 of those went for extra bases. 12 doubles, 6 triples, 7 home runs.
He did hit for some power. Cubs really don't need power. They just need him to get on base. Trailing by 2. 1-2. '50th home game for the Brewers. They're looking for their 36th victory. '97 on the Heat, 2-2. There's one at full. Castro next if Colvin reaches. Foul tip, strike 3, and the Brewers sweep. The final today, Milwaukee 4 and the Cubs 2.